Welcome to Vibrate Higher, the podcast that takes you on a transformative journey towards aligning with your higher self, unlocking the depths of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding within you. I'm your host, Joelle, mindset coach and founder of Synergy Group. I'm here to guide you on a path of self-discovery and personal growth. Each episode of Vibrate Higher is crafted with intention, combining ancient wisdom, modern insights, and practical techniques that can be applied to your everyday life. We'll explore various spiritual practices, mindfulness techniques, and self-reflection exercises, all aimed at elevating your consciousness and aligning with your higher self. Get ready to embark on an epic adventure. This is Vibrate Higher. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Vibrate Higher. I am your host, Joelle. Today, I want to talk to you all about self-care. So I was inspired to record this podcast episode because I have been seeing a lot and hearing a lot lately about self-care. And it's like the surface self-care. The spa day, facial, manicure, pedicure, self-care. And it got me to thinking, gosh, like there is so much more to self-care. And if people understood what self-care was at its core, then more people would be whole and at peace because they can deliberately set time to make sure that they are taking care of themselves from a holistic perspective and not just a surface perspective of, gee, I really need a massage today. So that's what I wanted to cover in this episode. I'm going to talk to you truly about what self-care is at its core and what holistic self-care looks like. And we're going to talk through some ways that you can subscribe to the self-care vibe without paying any money. I'm going to tell you my favorite self-care hacks that don't cost me a dime. So let's dive in. So let's talk about the definition of self-care. So self-care means taking time to do things that help you live well and improve both your physical and mental health. And it's important to take care of yourself in this way because that helps you manage your stress. It lowers your risk of illness because you are taking care of yourself from the inside out and your body is not living in survival mode or fight or flight mode, 100% of the time, like a lot of people are. It increases your energy. And there are so many small acts of self-care in your daily life that you can do when you understand what it really looks like holistically. And those small things could have such a major impact on you physiologically and emotionally. Now, self-care looks different for everyone. But once you understand what it is and how you can tailor it to fit who you are and your lifestyle and your belief system, it will work wonders for you. Another reason why self-care is so important and it's so critical is that when you are operating at your highest and best self, you are emitting an energy that brings you all of the things that you desire. So that love, that peace, the happiness, the wealth, the good health, the family, the lover, the friends, the community, the $1 million ideas. When you are emitting an energy that is on a high vibration, that is when you have access to all of those things. So self-care is truly an aspect of self-development. And when you practice self-care from a holistic perspective, which is what we're going to dive into today, you cannot help but grow and evolve. So that is why, in my opinion, self-care is so critical. And I think that it's glossed over a lot in mainstream media because that's pushing you to massage, spa, mani, pedi, facial, whatever it is. It's pushing you towards a product and it's not actually feeding your mind, body, and soul. And so let's talk about how holistic self-care looks. So when we're talking mind, body, and soul for self-care, we're talking taking care of yourself from the inside out. So what that looks like for your mind is learning something new. What I think a lot of us don't realize is we do a lot of repetitive stuff unconsciously on an unconscious level every single day. So as a human, we think between 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And 90 to 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. So it's the same unconscious pattern of thinking that you're doing every day. You're thinking about what happened last night. You're thinking about how your spouse pissed you off. You're worrying about your kids and are they going to be okay? You're thinking about your work. Are you going to meet this deadline? Did you do a good job? Are you going to get a good review? Are you going to get a good raise? How are you going to get this new promotion? It's repeated thoughts that you're thinking over and over. And get this, of those 90 to 95% of repetitive thoughts, guess how many of those are negative? Are you ready? If I had a drum roll, I would do it. 80%. 80% of the thoughts that we think over and over are negative. So it is so critical that you are consciously taking care of your mind. Because think about this. If you are thinking 80% of your thoughts a day are negative, think about what that does for your body. Think about how tense you are. Think about how anxious you are. Think about what that does for your mind. I'm going to tell you what it does. When you are thinking the same thing over and over again, and you're feeling the same way about it, then you're emitting the same frequency all the time, and you are attracting the same stuff. So it's the same scenarios, and maybe it will look different. Maybe the characters in the scenarios are different. It's kind of like the friend that always attracts these loser type dudes that always cheat on her or lie to her. And she's like, I just don't understand why I keep attracting this. It's because you're not doing anything different. You're not thinking different. You're not emitting a new signal. And so when we take that back to our thoughts, if you're thinking the same thoughts, you're feeling the same way, you're attracting the same thing, you are stuck in a hamster wheel. So to really consciously take care of your mind from a self-care perspective, that would look like consciously thinking new thoughts deliberately. That would mean purposely learning something new, like, hey, I want to learn a new language, or, I'm kind of interested on this particular topic. Let me learn a new skill. Those are new thoughts. And that is a new vibration, that is a new energy, and that is attracting new things. So what that does for our brain is it promotes our brain's neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to reorganize itself. So anytime you take it out of its habit, because, it kind of unconsciously, your subconscious runs that. So everything's happening for you on like a automatic level. A lot of the things, that's how you can drive the same route home or to work. And sometimes you don't even realize that you've done it. Like you get to work and you're like, I don't even remember my drive, because you were thinking about so many things because you're on autopilot. But when you are consciously thinking new thoughts, you are increasing your brain's neuroplasticity. And that's kind of like giving your brain a new wrinkle. And that is healthy. And so that is a way that you can take care of yourself from a mind perspective. It's consciously thinking something new. And I can tell you, for me, when I first really started getting into that, I would have to pivot myself. Like I would do two things. One, I would ask myself every day, like when I was doing mundane things, like let's say you take a shower, and every time you get in the shower, you're kind of like your evening shower, you're thinking about all the stuff about the day, things that annoyed you, things that made you mad. Oh, I got to do this. like you, and then I would find myself, for me specifically, I'd start thinking about things that annoyed me. And then I start thinking more things. Oh, remember that this time when this happened? And then, 2 years ago when that happened. And I would just start feeling like pissed off or anxious. So when I really started working on thinking new thoughts, I would stop myself and say, nope, we're going to think something new. Let's think something completely different. What about this? Every time I start thinking about that one thing that annoys me, I'm going to replace that thought with something I can do new in my coaching business. What new thing can I learn? And then my brain would go off in that lane. Ooh, what about this? Oh, I should Google this when I get out of the shower. I'm going to learn about this. And it would take me on down a different path. And so when you continually do that, your brain will automatically start pivoting for you. Like, nope, new thought. You're just retraining it. That is self-care for the mind. Now, self-care for the body. And honestly, I'm talking mind, body, soul here for a holistic perspective of self-care. But truly, as you listen to this, and I'm thinking this as I'm talking, all of it is interconnected the same way our mind, body, and soul are connected. So everything that I'm talking about is going to impact all the three of these things. So self-care for the body can be impacted by the mind, just like I talked about. If you're thinking 80% of your thoughts are negative a day, then like I said, your body is in fight or flight mode. You're tense on the inside. You're anxious. You're pensive. You're worried. You're depressed. Whatever it is, thinking new thoughts, taking self-care of your mind will impact your body because your body can relax. The tension is gone. Also, doing physical things. So everybody listening to this podcast may not be an avid gym person. Maybe you are not that athletic. Maybe you don't find joy in going into the gym and go hard or go home type mentality. That's cool. Everybody isn't that way. But doing something to take care of your body is still critical. That could look like a walk. So self-care for the soul. What does that look like? That looks like meditating, praying, taking time to deliberately connect with your inner being, your higher self. When you meditate, you're quieting your conscious mind, and that is going to allow you to relax. If you want to get guidance, maybe there's questions that you've been asking just subconsciously, you've put out there, and when you're quiet, you can hear. You can get guidance. And when you deliberately set up time to be quiet, so that could be 5 minutes a day in the morning, that could be 10, 15 minutes, 20, 30 if you have it. But when you deliberately do that consistently, then you will notice that your brain and everything is going to start working in tandem with that. Your mind, body, and soul are looking forward to that time. And then if you can get it to become a routine, even better. Key is being deliberate with it. Asking yourself, what have I done today for my mind, for my body, for my soul? So I want to take you through my favorite self-care hacks that don't cost a dime. The first one is, and this is one that I have started trying to do daily. I make everything a vibe. So what I mean by that is when I can control it, I want everything to make me feel good in some sort of way. I want it to feel motivating, inspiring to me. So let me explain what I mean. So when I go to record podcast episodes for all of you, so I may have a goal to say, I'm going to record a podcast believe today. It or not, and then an hour before I'm getting ready to do it, it's like, oh, I am going to do better about doing more, but really I do other things. So, and it's honestly, recording podcast episodes is not something that I have built into like a weekly routine. So what I did today, I was cleaning. It's some morning time here. So I finished breakfast, I cleaned up everything, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to record a podcast episode. Then I started doing something else. I think I was doing something with my dog. And then I kind of got in the feeling like, oh, maybe you do it in an hour. And I was like, no, we're going to do it now. And let me tell you why. What's going to make us do it? We're going to go make it a vibe. So I lit my favorite candles in my home office. I turned on my favorite YouTube, like cityscape background. Shout out to Cozy Bedroom. It's like these beautiful, like, apartment scapes with views, and it's just gorgeous. And I love looking at that on the TV. I've got a warm cup of coffee next to me. That is a vibe for me. So now I can sit down and lean into what I'm doing in this moment, and it's my vibe. Same thing with cooking. Maybe you're a person that you have to cook every day, but that doesn't mean that you enjoy cooking every day, but maybe you would if you made it a vibe. That's self-care. It's self-care because you are leaning into and being present in that moment, and you are making it your version of fun and peaceful. So that's helping your mind, body, and soul. So if you are a person who cooks every day, let's say you have a family, you have to cook every day, and you probably don't feel like cooking every day, but you have to, make that a vibe. Turn on your favorite your favorite album, your favorite song, light some candles, pour a glass of wine and cook. Like, be present in that, but get all your creature comforts to make that a vibe. Last example of that, I know someone who is big on playlists, and I am too, but he's big on playlists. So he made a playlist of all these songs that kind of get him into a certain vibe of like work, like this is creativeness is what I'm trying to say. So he puts this playlist on, it kind of gets him, going on the inside, and he's relaxed and he can like dive into his work. That is self-care. That is soothing your mind, your body, your soul into being present in that moment and leaning into whatever it is you're doing from a place of just feel goodness. And so that's what I mean by everything should always be a vibe. As much as you can. Anything that you can control, let it be a vibe. If it's your drive into work, if it's cooking dinner, whatever the next segment is of your day, do that with intention and do it where you're forcing yourself to have something to look forward to make it a vibe, to continually drive home and push forward the notion of peace and fun on the inside and feel good. So hopefully self-care hack number 1, it should always be a vibe. Makes sense now. Sorry for the many examples, but I want you guys to get it. Okay, so my self-care hack number 2 that doesn't cost a dime is one of my favorite, and that is journaling. And I am such a huge proponent of journaling. You guys have heard me say this plenty of times. Journaling is like a therapy session with yourself. So let's break down why this is self-care. You are made up of your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your superconscious mind, which you could also call your higher self or your inner being. But between your subconscious mind and your higher self, they know the answers to everything. Your subconscious mind's whole role is to make sure that you are surviving. It runs all of your automated processes, breathing, blinking, your heart beating, every single thing that your cells do, your subconscious mind is responsible for. And so because of that, it knows everything that you need. It knows everything your cells need, everything that your cells are lacking, everything that's off balance, all of it. It records all of that, and you have access to it. Same with your inner being. Your higher self knows your purpose. It knows what you intended when you came into this dimension, this physical body, to live and do life. It knows what you want to do. It knows your desires. And so when you sit down with a journal, and it could just be because you just want to write for that day. It doesn't have to be anything wrong, but it could be something wrong. It could be any of those things. You will be surprised how therapeutic it is. I have been journaling a lot lately on good days. A lot of times in the past, I would journal when I'm trying to work through something, but lately I've been doing it on some, let me tell you how great things are. And I love that because it just continually, it raises my vibration as I'm writing out, what's so amazing and what epiphanies I've had. A lot of times it's to raise my vibration and also for me to go back on days where I'm feeling not like that. And I can read it and remind myself of who I am. And that however I'm feeling at that time, that may not be good is just temporary and I have complete control over it. So you're journaling, you are tapping into knowledge from your subconscious mind and your higher self. A lot of times I'm asking questions. Sometimes I take that to my journal where I'm like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, or what should I do next? And then I'll just start writing, like I'm writing today, trying to really think about what I'm trying to do next about X. And when I think about X, and then you'd be surprised the thoughts that come to you, I call them downloads, the downloads you get, like these thoughts that are placed like, oh, what about this next? And you're like, oh, I just had an idea to do this. That's your higher self talking, your subconscious mind. You guys are working together as you're journaling. That's self-care for your soul. So that's my self-care hack number 2. So first one, always make things a vibe. 2, journaling. Self-care hack number 3, morning routines. So I'm saying morning routines. It could be daily routines because I understand that everyone's life is different and some people don't have the morning. Sometimes you may work and the evenings are your mornings. I don't know. But either way, a daily routine that you carve out time to connect with yourself. And a lot of you are probably thinking, well, I don't have time to do that. That's not true. You have time to do everything that you want to do. You want to watch Netflix, you have time for that. You want to gossip on the phone with your friends, you have time for that. You want to go, do whatever with whoever, you have time for that. So you can carve out time for yourself. That may even look like your time in the bathroom when you're showering and getting ready to go out or for the day or getting ready to go to bed or right before bed. But it's carving out time to connect with yourself. That could look like meditation. That could look like sitting in silence out in nature. That could look like sitting in silence, going over the 10 things that you're grateful for. But it's time alone with no phones, no electronics to connect with yourself. I am a proponent of meditation, so I feel like meditation should be in there somewhere. Starting out 5 minutes if you have it, 10 minutes. It could be times that you just do affirmations, but that is self-care for your mind, body, and soul, because all of those things are benefiting from that practice of connecting with yourself. Your mind is, your body is, because physiologically you are at peace and you are allowing yourself to relax on the insides and you're feeding your soul. So self-care hack number 3 is morning routine or daily routine. And my last self-care hack, this is just specific to me, somatic stretching. So this has been amazing for me. I discovered it, or I was led to it rather, because I've really been into lately the concept of releasing trapped emotions and releasing things that have been bottled up. And don't you worry, when I get enough of my hands wrapped around it, I'll be sharing it with you guys. But right now it's a lot of info. And so I need to be able to condense it and make it concise for you. But I am working on that for you. But somatic stretching I found on Pinterest. So if you are a Pinterest person like me, go into Pinterest and type in somatic stretching and it will pull up all of these great videos. But basically the idea is there are particular stretches that you can do and you hold these positions for seconds or minutes at a time. And it allows your body to release trapped emotions. And so you'll see on some of the videos, people are like crying or, it may cause like some shaking, not anything crazy, but it's emotions that are being released. And so to me, that's a version of self-care that I try to do a few times a week, where I could be watching a show or doing anything at night, and I'll just pull out my little yoga mat or my little blanket, and then I just do my stretches. I made a little Pinterest board of different ones. I'm kind of still learning ones that I like, but they work. And it took me probably a month of doing it to really start to have like an emotional response to it. And it felt so good to release some things. I was able to release some grief that I thought that I had worked through, that I thought I had worked through some of the heavy lifting of my mom's transition and my dad's transition over the past year or two. But apparently I still had some heavy lifting to do. And it felt so good to release some of that. And it didn't cost me anything. I didn't have to go anywhere. And all of that is done in my home. All of these things that I named, making things a vibe, journaling, daily routine, and somatic stretching, all self-care hacks that have nothing to do with an expense of a spa or a mani-pedi or a facial or anything like that. So I wanted to bring you all of this today so that you understood the foundational principle of what self-care is and how it is truly an inside out job, and it is holistic. It is not surface. And I hope that all of the hacks that I shared with you today, at least one or two of them resonated with you. Please feel free to try any of them and leave me a comment and let me know if there are any other ones that you've tried that you want to share with the community. Please do. Also, please write a review for this podcast and rate it and forward it, pass it on to people that you think would enjoy it. Anytime you put a review for me and rate it, it helps this podcast get shared to others who could be impacted positively by it. So please make sure that you do that. That's all I have for you today. I hope that you are vibrating higher now than when you first started listening, and I will talk to you all soon.